Congratulations, Anne. Okay, today's speaker. Today's speaker, there will be a slide. Sorry, was there a drum roll in there? Okay, all right. Constantly being coached, you know? There's a lot of opportunity for growth here. So I am going to be brief, but I will say that I'm really excited about what the year ahead looks like for our club. Doug has been a member of our club for a long time, but even before that, his dad Rob was a member of our club for a very long time. And I was joking with Doug's brother today that Rob told one of the best birthday table stories I have ever heard. It involved a camera being broken, punching a police officer in the face, and being released from prison only with the or jail, only with the understanding that he immediately leave the country and never come back. It was a phenomenal story. And Doug shares that same talent for storytelling. We have seen him up here many times as a huge Buffs fan, plugging the tickets that Peter Ewing gives to our club each year to raise money for the club. You know, there are so many times where this club creates friendships that you would never have otherwise found in your life. Doug and I live in different places. We may see some parts of the world in different ways, but I think something that unites us is a deep and abiding commitment to this community and to this club. And so for that reason, I am very pleased to welcome Doug Rutherford to the stage today.
I just last night sent my deck to Carl and Bill because it wasn't prepared yet. If you go back to the first slide there. That's one of the only slides where my kids are old enough to explain who they are. I have it here. But I don't know if he read it or not, but a lot of what he just said is the theme of the presentation in terms of the relationships we have here. My father being a tremendous influence on why I'm up here today. His ability to tell a story. And I didn't know it, and I was going to share it later, how all of my brothers, we got suspended from high school and how we got thrown in jail. And now I know why. It's because of Rob. So now I feel a lot better about myself. So thank you, Bill, for the introduction. Per protocol, I have like 20 minutes to talk about myself, just so you guys know who I am, why I'm excited about the club, what aspirations I have for the club, and then some ideas of how we're going to get there. 20 minutes. We're not going to finish in time. We're not going to finish. I won't finish after the 20 minutes. So we'll pick that up later. And we have 10 minutes for Q&A. So I'm really interested in that. But I'll just jump into it here. I'm going to start my timer. Okay. So my dad, as Bill said, longtime Rotarian, loved stories, but he also loved to have quips, quotes, and cliches. And you'll see that for the rest of the year at the end of a meeting. There'll be a quip, quote, or cliche. Chris Coker, is he here? He had, emoji. Bill has good news. We're going to have a quip, quote, and cliche. But here is one to talk about this picture here. And it comes from my coach from college. It's never as good as it seems, and it's never as bad as it seems. You just don't know. This picture is taken on January 2nd. Nice picture, right? You know, family. My youngest is sitting, I really can't see. Oh, here, it's right here, perfect. Oh, I love it. Sitting on the one with the black vest, she's 15. That was for her birthday, January 2nd. About 3 hours after this picture is taken, I am by the toilet throwing up 6 straight times because I got food poisoning. You can't tell it here, but it's happening. So it's never as good as it seems, never as bad as it seems. So that was brutal. Some education, only thing I think that's relevant is I am a product of Boulder Valley School District. So Burke, which is now Horizon, Manhattan, which is Burbank, Fairview, which is still Fairview. My daughter, who I just mentioned, whose birthday, she's the 14th Rutherford to go to Fairview High School. So I want her to wear 14 on her soccer jersey. My two other daughters, the one who's standing right next to me, Petra, we're leaving next week for her graduation, UMass Amherst. The one who Aaron is sitting on, that's Noel. Noel is going to be a senior at James Madison University, where my brother's a professor. My son Ryan, you'll see him in a second. My wife Jennifer, who's here, and Aaron, our youngest, who's 15. So it's a pretty good hand we've been dealt. Some business stuff. The only relevant thing here is, and this is for you guys, this second line item, open range, first the goal line management and open range capital. That's my current business now. So I have that business with a business partner in Richmond, Virginia. But he's a huge Buffalo Bills fan. So when the Bills played the Broncos out here, I said, hey, if I buy you a ticket to the game, will you fly out and we can hang out for the weekend? I wasn't super excited about it. It's good for business, it's good for networking, but like to sit next to a Bills fan during a Bronco game, that's like a nightmare for me, right? And you hopefully you'll never see it. I am at my worst when my team is losing and someone next to me's team is winning and they're reminding me that my team is winning, that my team's losing. I'm not very good at that. Hopefully during the year you'll see me at my best. Hopefully you never see me at my worst. But I brought him to the game, and I brought my son, Ryan, to the game. I'm like, Ryan, I'm at my worst when people are in my face and the Broncos are losing or the Buffs are losing. If you see me that way, just say, hey, Dad, can we get some cotton candy? And it'll be my trigger point. And he looked at me and was like, I'm not saying that. Like, why am I taking you to the game? So like 30 times during the game, I was thinking to myself, cotton candy. When like Bo Nix would throw interception, I would grab my business partner, Mark Rizzo, and was like, oh, it's like instead I wanted to punch him in the face. So for you guys, if I get out of my swim lane as president over next year, and you just think something is amiss, you can just tell me cotton candy. I reserve the right to disagree with you, but say that and I'll think about it later. Jen reminds me of things all the time that I'm not doing well, and I disagree with her instantly 100% of the time, and about an hour or 30 minutes later, I agree with her. So that's just the way it is. Okay, so on to the next, down here. Yes, this is where it begins. 3 minutes, sweet. This is an old picture. So the girl that I'm holding there, Erin, in the yellow, that's the 15-year-old. This picture is old, but it captures my mom and dad in a beautiful light. And that's how I remember them. And it's also in front of our house, 290 Mohawk. I think Marty Evans is not here, right? Is she missing? Yeah, she's traveling, right? Right near Marty Evans' house. A lot of stuff happened in this house. But the story about me being here as president of Rotary starts with those two in the middle there. My dad, Rotarian, we've talked about that, bodybuilder, author, entrepreneur, world traveler, just a stud in everything he did. And he never raised his voice at the 5 kids. So we have 5 kids here, I'll point them out, the rest are grandkids. Never raised his voice at us. And I'm like, when I have kids, I'm never gonna raise my voice at my kids. And then sure enough, I had kids, and it's impossible. And I realized why he never raised his voice at us. It's because my mom was raising us. My dad was doing other stuff. He was a great dad, but he was disengaged with raising the kids. It was my mom, and my mom is the matriarch of the family. And there's a theme there that you'll hear that relates to the Boulder Rotary Club. She was born in Java, Indonesia. She never went to college. She read 5 newspapers. By the way, my siblings here, they're here, so they're fact-checking me, right? So this is all real stuff. And I also will caveat that a couple of these stories coming up, I do want to say that we lived in a very loving household, and the vast majority of the time, no one was in harm's way. All right? So we'll go with that. My mom always challenged us. She's like, change the narrative. She didn't use those words, but I'm using those words because I think that's what we at Boulder Rotary are doing. We're changing the narrative on child hunger or on trafficking or polio, right? We're always changing the narrative and standing in the gap, which I'll get to later. But she was like that. She's like, you don't like something? Change it. You change it. You go do something. But don't not do anything. Do something. And so she was pushing us quite a bit. So I will just call out here Zania, who's here. You see Zania in the middle. I don't have a, is there a pointer on this thing? Maybe not. Is it? What is it? That's all right. Don't worry about it. Yeah, or I won't worry about it. Not you. Yeah, I know you're just working. Zania's there. Marla's there. My brother Eric, and the other sibling I have, who's not here, And thank you, Marla, for showing up. I didn't know Marla was coming until this morning. She has 2 little kids who, are they in these pictures? No, they're not born yet, right? Yeah, okay, well. Mom and dad look good though, right? Yeah, so that's good. Is Ken, and hopefully Ken speaks at Rotary here. He has a great story. So in this household, what's for dinner? First of all, in this household, we would talk about our family all the time in terms of what we're doing, how we're making things happen. The other things we talked about all the time, real estate, football, and travel. That's what was on the menu almost all the time. Real estate in the sense of have that be your side hustle until you can make it your main hustle. Passive income, leverage, other people's money, all of those things, which my dad loved. And that's just some sampling of companies that I've started related to that. Football, all the boys played football at Fairview. When Jen was pregnant with our third, we got a note from the doctor and says the sex, boy or girl. I had first 2 were girls. When I read that we were having a boy with Ryan, may sound superficial. Within about 30 seconds, I knew he was going to play football for Fairview. We were living in California, but I knew he was going to play football for Fairview. And I only say that because just so you know a little bit of background on me. It has nothing to do with Rotary, but it has a lot to do with me. This is my dad here when I was coaching my son for the first time. In that bottom picture, not a great picture, but that's right after he scored a touchdown on the highest scoring Fairview football team in history of the school. And he didn't want to take that picture. I didn't care. I wanted to take that picture so I could show it to people. And it's just a great time of life. And then travel, right? And so here's where we get into Rotary. So my mom was always pushing us to travel. And I'm 16 years old. I'm at Mohawk, the 290 Mohawk, where you saw the picture. And my mom, again, she's changing the narrative. She decides to go on a cruise with my 2 sisters because why would you stay at home with your family for Christmas? She just it didn't apply to her. Maybe she was sick of my dad. Maybe she was tired of my brothers who were back from college. And by the way, I'm the middle child. I have 2 older brothers. I have 2 younger sisters. And I was kind of caught in the middle, but it was great. So she decides she's going to go on a cruise. My 2 brothers are home from college, but they're not going to hang out with me. They already ruined Christmas for me like 12 years ahead of time, right? I never believed in Santa Claus. These guys ruined it early on. And my dad is great, but he's also just like, he's worthless when it comes to that. He like cut off a tree branch of one of our trees, and that was going to be our Christmas tree. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. It's like, this is terrible. And so since one of the 3 things we talked about often was travel, I felt a tremendous amount of pressure to travel on my own. So I asked my dad, it's maybe like December 19th or whatever, December 15th, like, hey dad, do you mind if I go to Europe over Christmas by myself with my backpack just to get out of Dodge? And he loves it. He was a major traveler. So we did. So I'm going to cut all of this out, but I get to London. I travel up to Edinburgh by myself, 16 years old, over Christmas. And I catch the last train out of London, and I get to Edinburgh. How many people have been in Edinburgh, Scotland? You know the train station I'm talking about? I think it's Waverley Station there. Just a beautiful place. I took this picture a couple years ago. I don't know if those are the stairs or not that I'm talking about, but it gives you an idea. 16, Christmas Eve, 9 o'clock at night. I'm walking up these stairs with my backpack. There's no internet. There's no cell phones. I don't know where I'm going to stay. I actually don't even know what I'm really doing. I knew I had to do it, though. And I fall down these stairs. And there's no one around. And this has a ceiling, but I don't remember. There wasn't a ceiling. I think this is a new construction because the rain was falling on my face when I was on the ground. And right away, I knew I wasn't hurt. But right away, I was like, Doug, you need to lock in. Like there's nothing, you don't have anyone. You can't be falling down the stairs. You're such a tool, right? It's like, just pay attention. Like, pay attention to these things. And so I get up, walk up the stairs. It's vacant, right? Everyone's with their families. It's Christmas Eve. And there's only one homeless person. And I, in my infinite naivety as a 16-year-old, I asked him, I was like, hey, do you know anything about that hotel? It's the only hotel that has lights on. It's like, that's the first thing I say. I need a place to stay. And he's like, yeah, I heard it's a good hotel. What does he know? Right? And so I'm walking away. I have my hood on because it's raining, and he yells at me. And I was like, turn, and I was like, what? And he yells, and he goes, Merry Christmas. And it dawns on me that it's Christmas and that I'm away from the family. It was the first time that I got homesick and like thinking to myself, what am I doing? But it was there on this trip where I ran into this Nec Sorte, Nec Fato. That's from the 14th, 15th century, from a Rutherford clan, right on the border. Eric knows better than me, between the Midlands and the Highlands, where the Rutherford clan comes from. And it means neither by chance nor by fate. And my mom had warned me, she had educated me before I went on this trip, like ramped me up on these things, so like, Edinburgh Castle and all of these things. Neither by chance nor by fate, and that's where I owned it. Fast forward, I get home, my dad picks me up at the airport, and he's so proud of me, and I'm so proud that he's proud of me. Because I traveled on my own over Christmas. He's like, Doug, I knew that when you got back, you're either gonna say, it's fine, or you're gonna love it. And I loved it, and it was awesome. And we always shared laughter, always shared love, and everything we did, I was just testing it with my sisters here today, everything we did was for leverage. And that is also something I want to talk to you guys about. So hold those two concepts, changing the narrative and this laughter, this love, and this leverage. Whatever we did as Rutherford kids, my parents wanted us to do it to get better. If we went to a musical, if we read a book, if we met people, it's like, how do we constantly turn this thing and get better? So that brings us here to Boulder Rotary, changing the narrative. We do this all the time. Right, the Boulder Rotary, we're out there changing the narrative. But what I would like to see is that we do share this laughter in the club, and we do share this love, the service above self, and we do share, to a certain extent, leverage. But I think we can fine tune all of those, especially on game day. I call this Division I membership privileges, that being a member of Rotary has its privileges. And a small example, and I didn't intend for this because I didn't know my sister was going to be here. My buddy Tom Sutherland and we play golf together, and he said something. I'm like, Tom, you sound more and more like a Rotarian all the time. I didn't invite him to this thing, but I mentioned it. And then he looked it up and he said, Nec Sorte, Nec Fato. Well, we'll see what that means. He shows up because to support me. My sister shows up. But before she showed up, he's like, hey, do you have a 6-foot-tall sister who's a photographer? She's trying to get into our Boulder Networking International group, right? And so that's what I'm talking about here is like, there is a lot. I know Rotary in general, we're like, hey, let's not network too much, but we do it all the time, right? Just don't be a butthead about it, right? And so I like to see that. I like to see this Friday afternoons, that this vibe is here in terms of sharing our skill sets and sharing our connections. Not as a primary, but maybe as a tertiary. Game day experience, mission trip. I put mission trip on there. What I mean by that is trips overseas that we're serving that changes us as well, right? And someone was mentioning when we're in the World Community Service Committee, it's like, are we doing good over there? Wherever that may be. Guatemala, I know Bill has a plan for Guatemala in January. I plan to go on that. I would love to have some Rotarians go to Ukraine. I know there's some people working on that. Like just having that opportunity, that privilege as a Rotarian of the Boulder Rotary Club to go serve other people and us change as well. I love that concept, and I think we can really work on that here. Network Haven, community partners, Simon Hart, President-elect, Boulder Valley Rotary, and Angie Flatirons. We've already met. We're going to do great things in terms of collaborating. I think we can do some great stuff there. And in here, the Boulder Rotary Club member 4-way challenge, not 4-way test, but challenge. That's the next slide. But here, walking the line in terms of what I wanted to say about this is, if you look at like a CU schedule, it has like Weber State as one of the first games. Or you look at Indiana, like one of the best teams. Like they have these North Texas. Why do they do that? Why would North Texas want to go to Indiana and get their butt kicked, right? Because North Texas can, when they're recruiting, can say, come join our club because we play Indiana. I would love to see us say, come join our club because we go to Ukraine. We do the tree canopy. We do this. We do that. We have these speakers. Like just a Division I game day experience where people are like, yeah, I'm going to join that club. 4-way test. Oh, first, speaking of club, this is the other idea. The Boulder Rotary Hub, that we come in on Friday to get filled up, right? With our learnings, with our networking, with everything. Thanks to AI. AI jumped a gun and it's like, oh, hey, how about I throw an open range capital in this thing? It's like, I never asked you to put open range capital in there. It's like, we're not that close. Just do what I say to do. Don't like take liberties on it. And I can't change it. I don't know if you guys ever try to change an image on AI, then everything changes. And I was like, and sometimes I have to take a break from AI and I tell it, it's like, hey, let's just take a break. And it's like, yeah, good idea. But here, this is, right? So we come in to the JCC, we get filled up, and then we leave. And we go out to, RILA and FHS Interact, right? That's the hub. Our Rotary Club is a hub, right? So that's just in general a thought. I'm going to just pause right here, see if I just totally missed any points I wanted to make here. There is a point here that I wanted to make. I don't know if you guys have seen Ted Lasso. You guys know Ted Lasso? So in one of the first episodes, he gets hired by the owner of a soccer club, football club, because she wants to run it in the ground. He doesn't know anything about running a professional soccer league. And the stadium is haunted. And she asked Ted, she's like, Ted, do you believe in ghosts? And he's like, hey, they should believe in themselves. Right? I mean, that was his view, is like believing in yourself. And so for the longest time, I believed in Rotary, but until I started getting ramped up to become president, I'm not sure I believed in any individual Rotarians because I didn't know them personally. Bill made a comment how we've developed a friendship over time. I believe in Bill because I got to know Bill. And yeah, we don't see everything eye to eye, but that's what makes it great. And I think more and more we can do that as a club. And there's a simple idea here. And it's the Boulder Rotary Club 26-27 4-way challenge. Here's the challenge. And by the way, there's an out as well. Every member, attend a club social, right? And we're gonna have a lot of them. I was talking to Ann, I need to talk to the social committee, a happy hour, a standing happy hour every month, hopefully. I used to do that with some other stuff. We should have maybe about 24 socials. I don't know, I'm speaking for the committee right now, out of turn. Volunteer for a service project, attend a committee meeting, and bring a guest. If you do those 4 things, and I was talking to Vanessa, we don't keep those metrics, but we will keep those metrics. It's not big brother, it's big picture, right? So if we do those, if we begin to kind of leverage up on our ability to speak wisely about our mission with Rotary, about fellow Rotarians when we're in casual, when we are out flying all over the place, right? It makes our club better. It gives it a better Division I membership privilege, right? So here it is. So if you do those 4 things, just 4 easy things, some of the Rotarians do it in a single day, you get one of these 4-way test presenter coins. You see that? See right up there? Pretty cool presenter coins. I got that idea from Boulder Valley Rotary. They gave it to the presenters. I'll give it to you and to the presenters. Some of you will be like, not interested in a coin, which I can understand. By the way, if you're in this room and you're like, there's no way I'm doing that, I'm not gonna do all 4 of those, I can tell you right now, actually do. Tell me right now, we can go have coffee, we could talk about something else. But if you're like, it's just not me, I like to come to the meeting, I pay my dues, I love being a Rotarian, but that's not my style. Which I don't know if there's anyone here that is like that, but if you are, you get a hall pass. Just tell me, and we'll figure that out. But for the coin, it reminds me of a scene from Vision Quest. I don't know if you guys seen, maybe I know Eric has. Vision Quest, yeah, Cassidy. It's about a wrestling movie, coming of age movie, where he has a big match coming up, and his uncle has taken a day off from work, may get fired, getting all dressed up for the wrestling match, and the little nephew is getting nervous. He's like, but it's just 6 lousy minutes on the mat. It's just a lousy coin. And the uncle's like, it's not 6 lousy minutes. It's what happens in the 6 minutes. So it's like, it's not the coin, it's what happens when all of us, 200 people, connect in 4 different ways on a regular basis. So just a high level thought there. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the presentation. I'm on track here. By the way, I forgot to tell you, and I want to tell you, because I gave you a warning that we lived in a loving household, and this is also relevant. When my mom decided to go on that cruise, I wasn't invited. I don't think I was invited, I can't remember. But I didn't dare ask her to be invited because I was 16 at the time. When I was about 7, I went to my mom crying because my brother, not this brother, but my other brother, Ken, took my soldier or something. And I went upstairs and I wanted like justice. I wanted to be, I don't know, I wanted a hug or something. But I came at it wrong. And I went into my mom's room and I was like, Mom, Ken stole my soldier. And she was maybe as close as I am to Simon right there. She was on the other side of the room. She takes her shoe and she goes, bam, right in the head. 7. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I am in the wrong place. And I turned around and I was walking down the hall and I think I was bleeding. There's a great like Kmart picture of me with my bruise. And I was like, don't ever do that again. Don't like be a whiner. And these are my words, but as a 7-year-old, I don't know words were, but in hindsight, it's like, you don't get the right to be a victim. You don't get the right to whine. You don't get the right to have someone else solve your problems. And now I caveat by saying we lived in a loving household, but that is a true story. She did throw that shoe at me. There's another thing she did to my sister here, which we won't get into, but that made me realize is like, being the victim is a luxury. And it's a luxury none of us want. And as Rotarians, we kind of have that mentality of changing the narrative. And if you are a victim, then change the narrative or work or partner with someone. So anyway, this comment right here, I think I have just 2 more slides. We live in tough times. I don't know if when Jen Spettel takes the leadership mantle for this club next year, if we're going to be better off or not. The world. The club will be. The club will definitely be because I'm going to be the president, and we're going to make sure that happens. The alternative is not acceptable. By the way, when I went to Pets, I couldn't go because the Boulder Valley Rotary, the Boulder Valley School District had a spring break, so I went to see my daughter in Spain. But Cindy Chase, the governor, district governor, said, "Hey, you can go to do an online one, a Zoom one," and on that Zoom one, and it was presidents from all over the country, I realized how special our club was, right? The succession plan, the strategy, the membership, all of that. So my first goal was make sure I don't burn it all down for Jen here after 100 years. It's like, geez, who made that guy president? So here, not to embarrass my wife, Jennifer, but when I asked permission to marry Jen, her father, John Mackesy, who's now passed, said, "Hey, Doug, you seen that movie Gladiator?" And of course I'd seen it. And of course he asked me that question because he knew his audience. He's like, "Remember when Russell Crowe's standing in the Coliseum and they don't know what's coming out of those gates? Do you remember what he said to his colleagues, his fellow gladiators?" He's like, "Whatever comes out of those gates, as long as we stick together, we have a better chance to survive. As long as we stick together, we will survive." Right? And that's what I have here. And that's what he said. It's like, just stay together. That's all I ask is you guys just stay together. And that's what I'm asking here is like, if we stay together, if we do this changing the narrative with laughter and with love and with leverage, we will continue to do great things and we'll continue to be the crown jewel of the District 5450. It's all there in front of us. I was so excited to be president, but then I went to the Buff restaurant with current President Bill Anderson and the Rotary godfather Carl, and the past president Chris, and future president Jen. And I'm so excited. I'm like, I'm speaking in 3 days. This was just on Monday or Tuesday. And we're like, "Oh, will Jen have time to talk about the website?" And they're like, "Well, if it's a busy agenda, who's speaking?" I'm like, "What do you mean? You joking?" And they didn't know who was speaking today. This was 3 days ago. They didn't know who was on the agenda for today. I knew. I was like, I'm on the agenda. I didn't say it. I was like, they have to be joking. But all these main guys and women, the keys of this club, didn't know I was speaking. So I'm excited about it, but it does remind me of this folk rock song, which I told you guys last week, Stephen Stills. If you can't love the one you want, love the one you're with. So this is, I'm who you got. So. And I just put this picture up here because the theme for Rotary next year, 26-27, is creating lasting change. And my parents are obviously not in that picture because they passed away, but all the siblings and all the grandkids are. This was a killer Malibu house that we rented to spread the ashes of my parents, and all the families are still together there. So with that, that's the appendix. I don't have time for that. We could talk about that later, but that has all of our goals in there and all that stuff, and I can explain something on there. But I'll pause right there. I don't know, I think I have 24 minutes here, so maybe 6 minutes, questions, answers. Thank you.
Does anybody have a question? No? Dan.
Doug, excuse me for not making eye contact. I had retinal surgery and I'm not looking up above the horizon. But last week, the Reverend Bob Stemper in his birthday homily a number of times used the expression dark times. And dark times are affecting organizations, particularly nonprofits, all around the world. Is there any way in which dark times have been affecting Rotary?
Yeah. Dark times will affect Rotary in a very positive manner because we'll make it so, right? So we do have dark times. And I would say, like, I have kids in high school, right? And I just saw this snapshot on use of technology in schools and how it's arguably detrimental to learning. AI taking like the fun social aspect of dating, like me, or maybe my son, better example, my son walking up to a girl to ask her to go to a movie, that is dying out. They don't do that anymore. This fear of rejection, this fear of failure, it's rather stay at home. I think Rotary has a tremendous opportunity, especially with the people we have in this room, to make a significant difference. If for no other reason, to stand in the gap in these tough times, because it's very much like the presentation. We stick together. We have this laughter, this love, and this leverage. We can withstand the pressures of the outside in a lot of different ways. It's just a matter of us, our club, focusing on where we want to make that impact. But there's dark times ahead. There are, but I think there's always dark times, and we'll be a light shining in the darkness for them.
I think Meryl's going to be our last question.
My man, Merrill.
Well, thank you, Doug, and may the Buffs survive another year. So.
Yeah, no kidding, yeah.
I want to ask, it seems like we have potential to collaborate, partner with other clubs, and we've done a successful partnership with the Boulder Valley Club, planting trees as an example, mainly because they had 3 big guys that help load the trees into the ground.
Yeah.
But I wonder what your ideas are about partnership with other clubs.
Yeah, so I've been a member here 13 years. About 10 years ago, we did partnership with Boulder Valley and Flatirons for the water bottle project. That went over really well. We won some district awards, et cetera. Yeah, we have Simon here, right? Simon and I have become friends over time, and Angie is here, right, representing Flatirons. We have already met, and I know that in Jen's era, the president-elect nominees, those groups have met. So there's not. Like my parents raised us, you are without excuse to be successful. You have been given everything. And I think we've been given everything, and we are without excuse not to be able to partner well with our Boulder clubs. So that is a focus of mine. That is a focus of mine for what it's worth. I mean, right? I mean, president has a say in this stuff as well, right? So that's a focus of mine. The Fairview, Boulder High, Interact. I think there's a lot there that's right in front of us that can be done well.
Hey, Doug.
Hello, Cassidy. Sorry, I wanted to shout out Cassidy. I forgot. Cassidy, I don't know how the nomination process went for me, but I know you were my advocate, so thank you so much for bringing my name to the table.
I'm going to hold you to that. There are so many things I could say right now. First of all, thank you for taking on the mantle of our upcoming presidency. It's the time of year where we're kind of sad. I think Bill's probably a little bit sad. And we're hopeful about you coming in and the change that it's going to bring. That's the opportunity that you talk about, the opportunity of Rotary. And I think every person in this room is an opportunity. Being the president of this club is an honor. And you get to know people in a way that you'll never have the opportunity again. So my question is, which you don't have to answer right now, do you have a Division I for those coin things? Because I think I'm going to nail that really fast.
What was the question about the Division I?
For the coins, your membership, your member challenger, because I'll do that in 1 week.
Yeah, I know you will, and I know there's a few of you. So there is a caveat to it. It has to start after July 1st.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, that all leads into some of the district RI goal setting and all that business as well. So there is a method to the madness, but I think that'll be fun. But yeah, I'm sure you're going to you'll kill it day one.
And then I look forward to learning about sports.
Yes. There's a lot there.
Bill can tell the story of how I had to ask him what the bills or something was. Anyway, doesn't matter. You know that we honor our speakers by donating 100 doses of polio vaccine to Polio Plus, which is the the Rotary International program to end polio in the world as we know it. We will do that for you too, and we do it with joy. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you so much.